Are you at magnesium cell saturation? What is magnesium cell saturation? How do you get to magnesium cell saturation? These are all the things that we're going to talk about during the January 2023 Magnesium 30-Day Soaking Challenge. My name's Kristen Bowen. I'm the founder of Living the Good Life Naturally, and I've dubbed myself a magnesium advocate because I've been talking about magnesium for the last over 20 years. Long time to be talking about magnesium and the benefits of magnesium. Now, it's so important to remember I am not a doctor. I am not diagnosing. I am not prescribing. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm sharing with you the foundational pieces that put my health back together after a health crash over 20 years ago when I was in a wheelchair, being fed through tubes, having seizures, lost so much weight, in and out of the hospital. I was a mess and I had to put the pieces back together. Western medicine gave up on me. And so I love sharing the things that I learned because my belief is when you wake up feeling good, that you change the world. And I've got grandkids in all sorts of different places in the world, and I want every corner to be filled with people who are making a better space where they're at and impacting people, because ultimately that impacts children, my grandchildren, and what their world will look like. That's what drives me. And so every January, I personally do a 30-day magnesium soaking challenge where I challenge myself to soak in magnesium for 30 days. And I don't get every single day in, and that's okay. You don't have to either. We do not demand perfection. Imperfect action creates optimal health. Now, if you are watching this in January of 2023 and you don't have your magnesium yet, you can use the coupon code MAG25. So MAG and then the numeral 2 5 at livingthegoodlifenaturally.com, and that will give you 25% off of your magnesium soak. And to do the challenge, you will need 2 soaks. Now, if you want me to pay your shipping, order $99 or more, and I will pay for your shipping. If you just order 2, you pay for your own shipping. So totally up to you whether you want to optimize free shipping or not. Now, let's get started at the beginning. Think of that music, Sound of Music. I love that movie. And I love the song, Let's Start at the Very Beginning. It's a very good place to start. Can you hear that music in your head? I love it. I can. Oh, we've got oh, Beth, you're 2 days in. That is fabulous. Jackie, hello from Utah. Jackie, I got locked out of Facebook. And so I haven't been able to be on, and I still have very, very limited access. But my team was able to patch me in a different way. But I can only answer questions on Facebook when I'm live. I can't go in and post afterwards. So I still have super limited access, but I'm really excited to be back to on Facebook. Now, this is streaming right now on YouTube, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And I will do my best during the live to answer those questions that come up. But let's talk about magnesium. Why am I so passionate about magnesium? And why would we need more magnesium? And why does magnesium benefit you no matter what you're doing to create optimal health? Let's talk about that. Think of magnesium like the spark plug in your body. It's what starts everything. So you can have all the hormones that you need, but if you don't have magnesium to move and connect those hormones, we don't have optimal hormone balance. And the most important part for me personally in achieving cell saturation was activating my active vitamin D. Now, we have stored vitamin D and we have active vitamin D. And part of a disconnect in our health is not owning where we're at with our vitamin D status and just having a doctor say, oh, your vitamin D looks good. I want more than that. And I am the CEO of my health. Nobody else, excuse me, nobody is as passionate or as dedicated to my health as I am. And so is what I do to become the CEO of my health. I don't do everything. I have other people that are on my board of directors that I bring on. And I bring on those people in their area of expertise. So, for example, I would not go to a Western medicine doctor and ask them about magnesium cell saturation. That's not in their wheelhouse. I also would not go to a Western medicine doctor to talk about nutritional therapies to keep my magnesium levels up. That's not in their wheelhouse. It's just like my kids. I have a son who is a financial genius. It is his gift to help you manage your money in a way that you're taking care of yourself for retirement. I would not go to him if I wanted to know if I had some cute shoes on and if they matched my outfit. That's not his area of expertise. And so, as I've built my board of directors, I've specifically looked for people in their area of expertise. And I, as the CEO, bring on those people to sit on my board of directors. And I, Kristen Bowen, would love to be on your board of directors when it comes to magnesium, because achieving cell saturation means that your body can then activate stored vitamin D and convert it into active vitamin D. And that's the first place you start when it comes to creating health. That's the first gateway that we walk through to create optimal health. I know after my health crash, when I was trying to put the pieces back together and get on top of the seizures and all of the things that were broken in my body, I did what I call now chasing symptoms. I'd work on my thyroid for a while, and then I'd totally focus on that. And then I'd work on a gut protocol to heal and seal my gut. And then I'd totally focus on that. And I'd get frustrated. And then I'd work on my sleep. Well, I realize now I was wasting a lot of energy, a lot of time, and a lot of money, because I would open up my supplement cupboard and I couldn't even remember why I was taking what, and I wasn't getting the benefit. And so through that process of my own health crash, I realized I need to build a strong foundation. And building a strong foundation is not done willy-nilly. Yeah, that's a word, I guess, willy-nilly. It's done with a plan. And the plan is to soak in magnesium for 30 days, achieve cell saturation, which is 6.3 or above, and have my red blood cell tested, my red blood cell. Now, when you go to Western medicine, they will test your blood serum. Your blood serum is so important to stay at 1% magnesium that it will pull from your bones, it will pull from your heart, it will pull from your pancreas, it'll pull from all over your body to keep your serum at 1%. Well, it's important, but so is my heart and my pancreas, my bones. I want all of those areas having enough magnesium, and I want to know where they're at. And so that's where a red blood cell test comes in. And after I get off of this live, I'll post a link to where I like to have my red blood cell tested so that you can get that test. One of the biggest questions that I get, and I would love to know for those of you that are watching live or are joining us on the recording, have you had your magnesium tested? And where did you come in at? Because some people opt not to have their magnesium testing. They do the 30-day challenge, they soak in magnesium, they call it done, and they move on. And that's great. You have to take this magnesium 30-day challenge and match it to your wants, needs, and desires and what works for you, because what works for you might be different for me. I want to share with you what I want out of my magnesium, not that you have to want the same thing, but to help you determine and clarify your goals when it comes to building a strong foundation. So with magnesium, I want to know where my numbers are at, because I'm huge about it's the lazy girl's way to create health. Minimal input for maximum benefit. And I cannot tell you over the last 20 plus years that I've been a part of people soaking in magnesium, and now thousands of people doing the magnesium 30-day challenge. I can't tell you how many people, when they finally get tested, they have either undersoaked and they have not achieved cell saturation, or they have oversoaked and they're way beyond cell saturation. I want to know where I'm at. How much do I need to soak? I don't want to waste my money and use too much magnesium. And I don't want to waste my money and time and not achieve cell saturation. So, testing for me is an important part of the 30-day challenge. Now, back in the day, we'd run these little groups. And then that group would have everybody get tested before they started. My puppy's falling through my lap. Hold on here. Before they did their magnesium challenge, I would have everybody test beforehand. And then I realized everybody's coming back deficient, really deficient, because of our current lifestyle. Our food is depleted in magnesium. And the magnesium RBC test runs about $47-ish. And if we don't have to do that because we know most people are deficient, let's drop that test, start the 30-day challenge, and test after. You absolutely can test beforehand. I just want to do minimum input of time, money, and energy for maximum output. And so you can choose to test beforehand or not, completely up to you. The 30-day challenge will take 2 32-ounce bottles of magnesium soak from Living the Good Life Naturally. And that magnesium soak, if you haven't purchased it yet, I've got a coupon code for you. If you're watching this video in January of 2023, the coupon code is MAG25. And that will get you 25. That's a good deal. 25% off of your magnesium. And remember, to do the challenge, you'll need 2 bottles. And then you'll need 1/4 of a cup per soak. Don't use more. And please, I beg you, measure it. Just measure it, because I can't tell you how many people that eyeball it and just kind of slosh it in the tub. They actually use way too much, and it's wasteful because your body can't utilize more of that magnesium. So 1/4 cup is all your body can utilize. And then is what I like to tell people, there's a couple different ways you can measure your magnesium. I do I do kind of a dorky thing. It works for me. It doesn't have to work for you, but it works for me. And that is, I glue a measuring cup on top of the lid. I did it one time, and then every new bottle of magnesium, I switch out the lids. I never forget where the measuring cup is. It's always right there for my husband, because he tended to just pour it in, and it's easy. I glued that on years ago. It's still glued on. I use that. Another way that people have done it, and we've measured this, is 3 capfuls of the magnesium is approximately, oops, sorry, I just hit my mic, approximately a quarter of a cup. So whether you use a measuring cup or whether you do a loose measurement with 3 capfuls, but I just beg you, don't just eyeball it pouring this way. I promise you, you will go through your magnesium faster. And remember, on the 30-day challenge, the goal is for this 30-day challenge currently, because living the good life naturally is all about staying current. And currently, we have an issue, my friends. And here's the issue: viral and bacterial load is up. It is actually harder to achieve cell saturation than it was 5 years ago. It's harder now. And so, there for a while, we never demand perfection. Imperfect action creates optimal health. So, perfection, throw it out the door. It's not a part of this challenge. For a while, for years, I said 80%, hit 80% of your soaking. And then I noticed the numbers. And when you start seeing patterns coming back, I realized, oh, we can loosen that up a little bit to 70%. And it gives a little bit more flexibility. And I still see people achieving cell saturation in that 30 days. And then 2020 hit, and my body and your body have been changed forevermore. And so now we need to tighten that up, and we need to get 85 to 90% of the soaking in for the 30-day challenge, especially for those of you who are going to test at the end of the challenge to find out where your magnesium cell saturation number is. And remember, we want 6.3 or above. And so we are looking at 85 to 90% of the days that we're getting in. Now, if you will go to the website, livingthegoodlifenaturally.com, and click on at the top, it has where you can join for a texting update throughout your 30-day challenge, and that's free. And simply as what it is I created 30 days of texts that will come to you automatically. And if they ever get annoying, just send stop and I'll take you off of that texting challenge list. A lot of people like that testing challenge list because it's a reminder for them, hey, have I soaked today? Have I created the time to soak today? Because we've got to tighten up how often we're soaking during that 30-day challenge. Now, if you're just soaking, just to soak and do the 30-day challenge, and you're not concerned about your magnesium RBC number, you're just soaking because you feel the benefit, because you understand the science behind it of what it does for your body, then you don't need to worry as closely to that 85 to 90%. But if you're like me and you want that data from a laboratory test showing you where your magnesium levels are at, then you will want to soak 85 to 90% of the time. And you'll want to be tested within 2 to 3 days of your soak ending. Now, here's the really cool thing. I will post the link to the exact magnesium RBC test because there's a little bit of confusion if you don't know exactly what you're looking for. So I will, right after this live is done, I'll throw it up in the links, and it'll link you right to where I get my test done. The cool thing is right now in January of 2023, there are so many coupon codes out there, so you can get your test for a really good price. And I usually buy a couple in January. They last 6 months before the test goes invalid. And so I buy a couple because I want to know where I was at after 30 days of the magnesium challenge. And then I back off my soaking for 30 days. And then I want to know, I test again, did I maintain that? Was I soaking enough to maintain that same number? So for example, and this might be a little confusing, so please ask me questions. Natalie, this made my whole day. I love you back. to the moon and back. And I love the fact that magnesium changed your life. It did mine too. And it literally is the passion behind living the good life naturally. So, Natalie, thank you so much for sharing that with me. Now, please ask questions if you're not understanding this next part, because it is a little bit more detailed for the beginners. But if this is your first 30-day soaking challenge, can you hear my dog snoring? He's like sound asleep. He's falling through my lap. So you do, if you want to know how often you need to soak in magnesium after the 30-day challenge. So we're taking that Stephen Covey approach and starting with the end in mind. And if you want to know, like, how often will I need to soak after the challenge? Because gosh, that's a great coupon code of MAG25. And I'm going to buy my magnesium for the 30-day challenge. And then I want to know how much to buy to last me a couple months with that coupon code. So this is what I like to do. And again, customize it to you, your body, your journey, your way. You don't have to get this detailed. I like the lazy girl way of creating optimal health with minimum input for maximum benefit. And so I do the 30-day challenge. I test my magnesium levels. Depending on where that magnesium level is at, determines how much I will soak for the next 30 days. If it comes in really high, I might soak once a week. If it comes in really low, I'll soak 5 times a week. If it comes in mid-grade, I might soak 3 times a week. And then I'll test again after 30 days to determine, did that 3 times a week soaking maintain my numbers? Did it increase my numbers? Did it drop my numbers? And that second test is going to help you determine your individual burn rate. So my husband and I, we are connected. We've been married 34 plus years. He soaks in magnesium. I soak in magnesium. We both have different magnesium needs in our body. That man is the most chill, like nothing gets to him. He just takes it in stride. I tend to do this a little bit. I get worried about my grandkids. I get worried about my kids. And I burn through my magnesium a little bit more. I have autoimmune. I burn through if you have autoimmune, you burn through magnesium a little bit more too. If your thyroid is not optimally working, if your thyroid is not optimized, that's a better way to say it. If your thyroid's not optimized, it's going to take you a little bit longer to uptake and utilize your magnesium. If you eat a lot of sugar, it will take longer for you to achieve cell saturation. If you're a soda drinker, if you're an alcohol drinker, if you smoke, if you eat a lot of fast food, if you're hydrated, there are so many variables in your personal magnesium burn rate. Now, I think it's really important that each person understand their burn rate, because here's what I see happen. I see an increase of knowledge that connects you to your power when you understand your burn rate. There is no amount of marketing, there is no amount of advertising that can move someone into soaking more often or less often or doing something else with magnesium once you have that data and feedback from a test. Linda, I love it. You just finished your 30-day challenge. Linda, I want to know, are you going to test? Is that important to you? And remember, it is to me, but that doesn't mean that you have to do that. You have is what I think is really important when creating health, is that you set it up in a way that works for you. And even though you and I are working on the same goal of creating optimal health, to wake up in the morning feeling energized and good and have energy throughout the day without having an afternoon crash, we might approach that very differently. And so, Linda, I'd love to know, are you going to get your magnesium red blood cell tested, or is just doing the 30-day challenge enough for you? I'd love to know that feedback. Okay, so Natalie, The magnesium bottle is 32 ounces, and it will give you 16 adult soaks. An adult soak is a quarter of a cup. If your children are joining you on this magnesium challenge, it's an eighth of a cup for children, and a magnesium 32-ounce bottle will give them 32 soaks. But for an adult, it will do 16. And so to get through the magnesium challenge, you need two bottles, two 32-ounce bottles. And please feel free to use coupon code MAG25 in the month of January 2023 only. That will be current for 25% off of your magnesium. Linda, I love that. You are going to be tested. And some people will come back at cell saturation after 30 days. This is a huge question that comes up all of the time is, how long will it take me to achieve cell saturation? And I so wish I could answer you and say, it will take you exactly this many days, but I can't. I do know that some people, more now than what used to be 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, some people need to actually prep their body before they soak. And let me explain why. This will be our last point, and then we'll call it good for today. Oh, just waiting to see if your purchase tests are still good. Linda, I need to check with the company currently. Last year, they were good for 6 months from date of purchase. I don't know if they're continuing that in 2023, but it used in 2022 at Walk-In Labs, where I like to have mine tested, they were good for 6 months from date of purchase. So let me get back to what I was talking about. And that was when we're soaking in magnesium, some people need to prep their body. And this when I first started 15, 20 years ago, this never happened. And it's happening more and more and more and more and more. And one of the things that I like to think of is magnesium shines the light on what your body needs if you understand the language of the magnesium and what it's telling you. And so is what can happen is when you soak in magnesium, if you don't have enough potassium, and remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not diagnosing or prescribing, I'm just sharing with you what I learned for my body. And I trust the fact that you are filtering and taking this information for what works best for you. So is what can happen is if you're low in potassium and then you soak in magnesium, your body goes, oh, there's that magnesium I needed. And it drops the potassium and it runs over to pick up the magnesium. Super oversimplified explanation of what happens, but it gives you a visual. And if your potassium is low and then you drop even more potassium to run over and pick up more magnesium, you feel like garbage when you soak in magnesium. You'll be exhausted. You might even have a racing heart. Your limbs will feel heavy. You'll feel very confused and groggy. And that is shining the light that your body needs more potassium. Now, how much potassium? I can't tell you that because people on certain medications have to limit their potassium. People with renal failure have to really watch their potassium numbers. If you're on certain medications, the average person needs 47 to 5,400 milligrams of potassium every day. And over the years, as I've worked with women in Core 7 and they've tracked their potassium numbers, usually they get around 1,800 milligrams a day. So about half the potassium that we need. And that's from women who say, oh, I eat really healthy. We're not getting enough food sources of potassium. And so, and your adrenals run on potassium and salt. And so if you've been low potassium for a long time, your adrenals are exhausted. And then they drop their potassium even lower, and you'll be like, I hate this magnesium. I felt horrible. But we have to remember magnesium is shining the light on what our body needs if we understand the communication. And that's what this 30-day challenge is all about, is just understanding the role that magnesium plays in our life. Now, the next 30 days, not every single day, but over the next month, I will just be hopping on live and we'll be talking all things magnesium, how it works during menopause, why it's even more important during menopause, and what it does for progesterone levels, and why it's so important for progesterone levels during menopausal years, why it's good for pregnancy. We'll talk about all sorts of different reasons that magnesium lifts and benefits your body. And it's always through the filter of sharing information, not being your doctor and not telling you what to do. You need to make the best decision for you. And you know what's going on in your life. I always don't. And it's important that you make the decisions based off of your current health information. Quarter cup of magnesium in a bowl of water. Make sure that your bowl is either glass or stainless steel, and the water needs to just cover the top of your feet. You can do it in the bathtub, but if you do it in the bathtub, keep your feet down in the water. Feet in the water is so important because your feet are what uptake the magnesium through your lymph. Linda, I will not. 2020 was such a tough year for business because we lost so many sources. And I was not willing to just use any source to put products in the shop to continue selling them. The reasons that I carry products is because I can't find the quality somewhere else. And when we lost that source of coconut water, I haven't been able to find it somewhere else. It was an excellent source of potassium. One of my favorite current sources of potassium is the Harmless Harvest coconut water. That's a really great coconut water, especially if you've dropped your potassium levels while you're soaking and you're not feeling good. I've seen the pattern that liquid potassium will bring your levels back up quickly, more so than like a bowl of lentils. And so if you're not feeling good during that soaking challenge, a liquid potassium like celery juice or coconut water, or even a glass of orange juice with some cream of tartar in it will help bring those levels up more quickly and efficiently. I am so glad that you're here and joining me on the 30-day magnesium challenge. And let's see. Oh, he is the sweetest boy. He needs a bath. He got fired from his groomer. The groomer fired him. He does not like the sound of the clippers. He's a rescue and he's had a little bit of trauma in his life. So we have taken over grooming him, and it's so much more work than what I thought it was going to be. So I'm more than willing to talk about magnesium and the 30-day challenge. If anybody out there wants to give me grooming tips for my beautiful little rescue Shih Tzu, I'm willing to take any advice because it's a 3-day process and it's a little bit stressful for owners and dog involved. But thank you. I love my little Louie. He's a great little guy. He's such a helpful guy to my husband, who's a double amputee, and he helps him to grab stuff. Like Shih Tzus aren't known for their incredible ability to fetch things and bring them back, but this little guy does if it involves taking something to my husband. So he's a pretty loved little fur baby in our home. Yes, the coconut powder would still be good, especially, obviously if it got wet, that's going to compromise it. But I've had coconut water powder last for several years. And so absolutely, you want to smell it, make sure it hasn't gone rancid. Hopefully it was in a dark cupboard away from sunlight, but I've used coconut water powder years. And it's still been a great fit. Harmless. Linda, talk to me about that one. I'm not sure what that in reference. Sometimes by the time I get to a comment, I've moved on to something else. So I need some reference on that one, Linda. Oh, didn't get the full name of what, Linda? The full name of what? And I would love to share the full name of a specific product, of a test. Um, so share with me on that. So, in this 30-day magnesium challenge, we will just talk all things magnesium. And here's what people don't understand. If I can, oh, hi, buddy. He says, ooh, people are talking about me. Yes, they're telling you you're so beautiful. So during the magnesium challenge, I don't think that people realize that your questions that you ask during the challenge literally determine where we go conversation wise. So, for example, I am someone that is hardwired with depression. It's something I've experienced since I was a young child and I've experienced throughout my life. So, we might end up talking about magnesium and glutamates and the role that magnesium and glutamates play in depression. Does magnesium cure all depression? I wish it did. I still experience it. I do know for me, magnesium has made a difference and made mine easier to manage. Migraines, somebody might ask a question about migraines and the role magnesium plays. And for some, magnesium will clear up their migraines. For others, it's not enough. And so your questions and the conversations we have will literally determine and dictate the topics that come up during a 30-day challenge. I've been doing the 30-day challenges twice a year for years. I do one in January and I do one in August to make sure that my magnesium is optimized going into winter. So twice a year for me is a good fit. And the topics are different every single challenge depending on the conversations that you and I have. So truly, this isn't just about me getting up and talking. It's about us having a dialogue. And where are you at? And maybe this year, I think a really interesting topic is the increase of virus and bacterial load that across the globe all of us are experiencing, and the role that magnesium can play in that, and how that works and other parts of your body, and how you can optimize that. Another area of interest for me with magnesium is in your pain receptors. My husband is someone who deals with chronic pain, not just like, oh, I have a headache, but debilitating pain. And so magnesium plays a completely different role for him because of that pain. So we can talk about the role of calcium channel receptors in magnesium. There's hormones, menopause. There's so many places we can go. And your comments and questions will help determine that. Oh, the new coconut, Linda, Harmless Harvest is now I can get mine at my local Costco. I live in um, on the Central California coast in Morro Bay, and my Costco carries it. And that's the best place I can find it pricing wise. It's called Harmless Harvest, and it's in the refrigerated section. Oh, you're so welcome. Linda, you are so very welcome. 30-day challenge has begun. Remember, if you haven't started yet, that's okay. Some people start the middle of January. Some people start the end of January and then watch the videos after. We'll upload them to my website at livingthegoodlifenaturally.com. So if you're not able to join us live, remember that they'll be there on the website at livingthegoodlifenaturally.com, and you can catch those on my blog if you've missed anything. I love that you're here. I love being around other people who are focused on creating optimal health so that we wake up in the morning feeling good, and we wake up wanting to create solutions and live in a way that makes this world a better place, because it's crazy out there. And we need more people that feel good, that are connected to their gifts and their capacity to make their corner of the world a better place. And magnesium helps you do that. Not just any magnesium, magnesium from Living the Good Life Naturally. Glad you joined me on this 30-day challenge. We'll be doing videos all throughout. Remember, those of you on Facebook, I'm still having some Facebook glitches, and so I can't comment after the fact, but I can during the live. And so just a little heads up on that one. If I don't comment after the lives, I'm still just having some glitches there on Facebook. We'll get it figured out though. But thanks for joining me on the first day of the Magnesium January 2023 30-day challenge. Bye-bye.